Good evening and welcome to 12 News at 6. The first day of witness testimony just wrapped up in the murder conspiracy case against the so-called Doomsday Mom.
Vallow Daybell is facing charges for her role in the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow.
12 News journalist Erica Stapleton's been tracking this case for us and joins us in studio. All right, what'd you think of the first day, Erica?
Well, it was a lot, Troy and Caribe. There was a packed courtroom. People came as far as Australia to see this case. Of course, there's a lot of attention because Vallow Daybell is representing herself. She's pled not guilty, and today was opening statements. And I'll say the jury seemed like they were captivated by both her story and the state's story, which were two completely different things. Now, in court, a tearful Vallow said the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, was a tragedy, and he was killed in self-defense. The prosecutor, however, said it was a murder conspiracy that Vallow Daybell and her brother, Alex Cox, planned out so that she could take Charles Vallow's money, get life insurance payout, and be with Chad Daybell, her current husband. Prosecutor Trina Kay said she would show text messages and other evidence to prove that conspiracy. And on the day Charles Vallow was killed back in July 2019, he went to Lori's house to pick up their son JJ and bring him to school. But the prosecutor said that's when Lori took Charles's phone to keep him inside her house so her brother could shoot him. Lori's brother was already staying at the house, and the prosecutor said he was prepared with his handgun and extra magazines, arguing that Lori is the reason Charles is dead and that she teed up her brother to shoot him.
Lori Vallow, or Lori Daybell, whatever name you want to call her by, is why Charles didn't just leave with JJ that morning. Lori Vallow is why Alex was able to shoot Charles. Lori Vallow is why Charles is dead.
But Vallow Daybell's story is different, saying Charles was the aggressor and that he used a bat to hit her brother in the head. We have body camera footage obtained by 12 News that Alex Cox, that's her brother, told police that's how he got that injury. Cox died before police ever pressed charges, so he was not charged in this case, but he is considered the co-conspirator. And Lori argued in court today that her brother acted in self-defense. She spent time cross-examining all the witnesses when the state was objecting to questions too.
The state has mentioned they're alleging that insurance money was my motive. Social Security was my motive. Spouses having insurance policies is not a crime. Collecting Social Security is not a crime. Self-defense is not a crime. A family tragedy is not a crime. It's a tragedy. Thank you.
Of course, this is a lot for the jury to take in, and there were other tense moments once witnesses started taking the stand. We heard from two Chandler police officers as well as a Chandler firefighter who described Lori's and Alex's behavior at the scene. And I think most striking, Caribe and Troy, is that, the last person to testify was a firefighter, and he said, yeah, when I went in there, I tried to do CPR and it felt like I was the first one to do so. The prosecution made the point that it took 47 minutes for Lori's brother to call 911. Meanwhile, they were having conversations in between that. And again, he's the shooter. So you think if this is a family member, it should have been something that, was called initially. So those are the big takeaways today. We're expecting to continue tomorrow with cross-examination of that Chandler firefighter. But guys, I do have to just point out that the moment where Lori paused her opening statements to get a tissue, it was something I'd never seen before. I've never seen her crying, and that's having covered this case for 5+ years. We've seen her go off into a religious diatribe. We've seen her sit stoically. We've seen her laugh and giggle as she comes into the courtroom. So it has some saying, was this just a show to put on for the jurors, or is she truly upset? And I'll say it was chilling to hear her talk about her children in this way, because of course in Idaho she's convicted of killing her children, Tylee and JJ.
Yeah, and what's unique about this trial obviously is that she is representing herself. You've been watching her in courtrooms now for years. What was your impression of her performance today? Is it what you expected?
I think with her opening statements, it was interesting because she didn't address the religious aspect of this at all. She just said, hey, she kept saying, the evidence will show, the evidence will show, the evidence will show. And it was sentence by sentence, very methodical. And it was interesting because you can tell she's paid attention to court proceedings. She knows what language to use. It'll be another story to see whether the jury buys this version or if they buy the prosecution's version. And I'll say something that might keep this case going is that every witness the state has called so far, again, those 3 Chandler first responders, she said, hey, I want to cross-examine them, and she's gone up and asked them questions. Again, it seems like she's very methodical, and it'll be interesting to see the jury's takeaway, especially because they do not know the history at this point, her prior convictions in Idaho.
All right, Erica, thank you for the report on that.
All right.